topping, once we get the likes up to like at least 2,500. I'm going to say this, and I want you to take this with a grain of salt, but not take it straight up. I'm going to say this, and I want you to take it like a shot. Some of the things that you do and some of the reasons why you're not where you want to be is because you hate yourself. Some of the reasons why you are not where you want to be is because you secretly hate yourself. You hate the way you look. You hate the way you sound. You hate the fact that you made a bad decision, meaning you won't forgive yourself, and because if you loved yourself, there would be some things that you wouldn't do. If you really loved yourself, you wouldn't spend the money the way that you spend money. If you really loved yourself, you wouldn't eat the way that you eat. And I'm not talking about like just crazy, like, oh, I never have a snack. I never do this. I never do anything wrong, right? But if you really loved yourself, you wouldn't be pulling through a McDonald's drive-through every day. Why? Because you wouldn't want to load your body with chemicals. You'd be like, look, I love my body. Why would I do this to my body? If you really loved yourself, you'd take a chance on that business idea because you'd say, you know what? You deserve the opportunity to make it big. If you really loved yourself, you take a chance on love again. You deserve to be loved. If you really loved yourself, you wouldn't let people treat you like that. And this isn't to beat anyone up, right? But sometimes you just have to call a spade a spade. There's been times where I was like, you know what? This behavior demonstrated that I have a lack of love for myself in this area because something in me says I deserve or I don't deserve to be like that. Some of you guys don't feel like you deserve to be a homeowner. Oh, I don't know. I mean, a property owner, me, I've been working, minimum wage, whatever. Let me tell y'all something. There's people doing some big things from having great credit off of a limited income that are doing amazing things with a limited income and great credit. If you loved yourself, you'd give a credit cleanup another shot. If you really loved yourself, you'd say, hey, you know what? You do deserve that little nest egg, right? Or, hey, let me slow down this alcohol. Hey, if I really love myself, and this is something that I had to do, you would be more careful about the type of entertainment you ingest. Why? Because you're like, no, I love myself too much to have this ignorance get into my spirit and to make me feel worse about myself. So getting yourself to the point to where you love yourself enough to be willing to change. You love yourself enough to be willing to change. You love yourself enough to be vulnerable. You love yourself enough to go live. You love yourself enough to put yourself out there. You love yourself enough to go walk. You love yourself enough to drink some water. Like I had to love myself enough to switch my coffee. Now it's like 1 coffee a day to lemon water. You love yourself enough to get some self-development and to let somebody guide you and to open up. One of the things I recognize, and this is why it's important for me, and if you've noticed, even me getting on live and being more vulnerable, like, yeah, these are some things I've done wrong. This is some things I've struggled with, and talking about those things because it releases other people from having to pretend like they have everything together. There's not one person walking this earth that has everything together. What we're all searching for is balance. And then the other thing that you're searching for is the root cause to the imbalance. Why is this part of my life? Why does this keep showing up? What is creating this imbalance? I need TikTok to know. I put this thing on there where it like limits how long I'm on there. I'm like, I need y'all to know when I'm live that don't count. It's just when I'm just sitting there searching. So I want y'all to comment. What are some areas in your life where you're like, look, this is done. This is done. We need to go to the next level in this particular area. What are some areas where you're like, no more. Enough is enough. What's up? And y'all share this, share it with like 10 people. And when we get up to 2,500, I'm gonna get into the real topic. The real topic, which is the fertilization process. What's actually happening when you think nothing's happening? And this is really big because I just recently went through and look, I'm exiting this period where I'm thinking nothing's happening. Thank you so much, Donnie, for sharing the live. I see you. Look at the loyalty. What's actually happening when you think nothing in your life is happening? How many of you guys have been in places where you feel stuck? Like your business isn't growing? Thank you so much, Master Donald Atchison, for sharing. What's up, Levon? Welcome to the live. And if you are new, my name is Yannick, and I am here to help you to master every area of your life. You can dominate in every area. You can reclaim every area of your life by changing your mindset and making better decisions. But I'm going to talk about what's happening when you think that nothing's happening, because some of you are beating yourselves up because you think nothing's happening. Yes, I totally agree. There's certain things I just will not let in my spirit. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the reason why you can't do that is some of it is intentional. A lot of it is intentional to get you to get into a space of hopelessness. And some of it, what's up, Kimba? Y'all follow Kimba Beauty, especially if you want to learn how to do your natural hair. She does some cool things with braids and locks and things. And I'm like, that is gorgeous. I could never do that. But clearly, I just shaved my head before coming up in here. So, but I know that it is for other people. I'll give up. I'll not be that person that has this much of my braids under. That's how I used to be. And I would have half of my head in braids for like a month because I just couldn't finish. I just couldn't bring myself to finish it. Oh my Lord. So yes, but there's certain things you can't allow in your spirit. Bobby Davis. Hello. I just love your spirit. Well, thank you, Bobby. Tell me what it is. You've been here before. Thank you so much for coming back. Hopefully you followed, you shared, y'all. Let's get this up to at least 2,500. So that way the TikTok will bring in more friends because we don't want to gatekeep. Rent Due, thank you so much for following, and thank you so much. Thank y'all for liking before we get into the topic. But sometimes we'll just sit there and beat ourselves up because we're like, nothing's happening. But really, a lot of things have happened. So, and this is for people who've already decided, hey, I'm leaving what's old behind and I'm doing something fresh. I'm doing something fresh. I'm having a fresh attitude, a fresh mindset, a fresh everything. And I'm going to say this. Attitude is everything, y'all. Your attitude is either attracting people or it's repelling people. And sometimes that thing that we want so bad isn't coming towards us because our attitude is repelling it. And we'll just be so controlling and so like, oh, I gotta have this thing. Why isn't this happening? Why isn't this happening? And what's happened is it's soured your attitude to where all of your activities kind of have this bitterness, with it, and it's actually repelling everything that you want. So we're going to address the attitude. Two, we're going to address the mindset that you need to have. We're going to address the actual strategy you can implement. But first, we have to reform some thoughts and ideas. We have to reform some thoughts and some ideas because that is just, honey, some of that stuff just cannot happen. And this is really, really important. I want you guys to think of everything that you want. Now, for some of y'all, you don't know what you want. And that's why nothing has happened, because you're not sure about what it is that you want. You're just addicted to complaining about everything you don't have, but you haven't said exactly what you want. If you don't know what you want, go to the link in my bio, and I have a workbook. It's called Cultivating Vision and Strategy. I used to have it to where it was like a full-on course, and I realized, you know what? Y'all's attention span isn't there for a course. Y'all not gonna sit there and talk about it. So I just wrote everything out. All you have to do is sit. It should take you maybe 40 minutes to go through and just fill out the workbook. Just fill it out. So that way you can get refamiliarize yourself with what it is you actually want. Now, this is the thing. If you're not going for what you want, then you're usually settling for what people are willing to give you, what life is willing to give you. If you don't know the type of person you want to meet, then you're just settling for whoever likes you. Thank you so much. What's up, Michael A. Knox? So go there, look at it, and fill it out. Bam. Right. Thank you, Bobby Davis. Yeah. You're just settling for what life gives you. And this is the thing that also sets in that spirit of hopelessness where you think nothing will change, but really nothing can't change because you haven't proclaimed what you wanted. You just know you want your life to be better, but you haven't defined what better looks like. What does better health look like for you? And not from a place of comparison. Like, oh, this person looks like this and this person has this or whatever. What does better look like for you? What does better finances look like in this season? What do better relationships look like in this season? What does a better business look like? A better marriage, a better friendship, better health. What does all of those things, what does that look like for you in this season? Meaning something that you can take action on now. What does a better mentality look like? What does better health, or mental health look like in this season? What is better? Because if you don't define what better looks like, then you're just going to be doing anything. And let me tell you, this is so important. Once you define something, your mind begins to think on that and it starts to imagine what that life is like. So once you say, hey, I want better health and this is what better health looks like, you'll start thinking about it. And guess what? Your actions respond to your thoughts. But if you don't put any definition to it, your mind doesn't have any reason to respond and to take any action, because what is it taking action on? It doesn't have a course of action. It doesn't have a plan. It doesn't have a desire. You haven't challenged it. And this is the other side. This is the hardest part about when you haven't set goals and you haven't said what's next. One, you could be dealing with, and some of you guys commented something that they filtered. So if you put something in there that maybe, because I don't think we have any spammers in here. If you put something in there that maybe TikTok doesn't really like, use emojis instead and I'll get it. Because sometimes people are commenting and then it'll come up, some comments were filtered to protect the community's experience. And I just don't feel like we have any spammers in here or any weirdos. So what does better look like? Now, if you won't take the time to write out what better looks like, it is very likely that you're experiencing hopelessness in that area. You've got a spirit of hopelessness that you've got to address, both spiritually and in the natural. Because hopelessness tells you nothing will ever change, and it makes you do nothing. And when you try to do something, it sucks your energy away the moment you begin or the moment you have a slight failure. And then what ends up happening is whatever it is that you want to improve usually gets worse. And it gets worse because your inaction or your negative actions have began to compound. Meaning the situation gets worse and worse and worse. Let's say it's about fixing your credit or your financial situation. If you feel like things will never get better, then you probably won't change your habits to make it better. And then the situation gets worse, thus reinforcing the hopelessness. Do y'all get that? Do y'all see how that works? Y'all, this isn't even the topic, right? So y'all, let's get the likes up to 2,500. Let's get it up to 2,500. And I want you to comment some areas that you want to see get better. And like I said, if it's something like, for instance, I'll tell you TikTok does not like the word mental health for some reason. So if it's something that, use some emojis or use some other words. So what are the things that you know for sure you want to get better? You're like, look, I have to overcome this thing. This thing can't stay like this. What are those areas? Or, hey, this is the thing that I've let get bad. I've allowed it. I have allowed it to do it. Now, let me tell you, some of you guys are listening to this, and there's a little voice in your head that's saying, don't listen to her. That's a sign that that area needs to get better. Or if you're fighting back the urge to just go to the next live, like, we can't talk about this, meaning something about it hurts, stay in here. Stay in here. That means that that spirit of hopelessness, it's settled in. It's comfortable there. And so it's making you get uncomfortable with even thinking about it. Stay in here, fight the urge. What is the area that you've maybe told yourself nothing will change, or you've been wanting to change, but you haven't quite gotten it together yet? Because this is going to be your year where you're going to get it together, friend. And believe me, there have been people I've worked with, and even within myself, right? Because I start and I try to over and over again start with myself. Master Donald Atchison, you said prayer. Well, I want you to comment what's been blocking you from praying? Because you've said it twice now, so this is something serious. Everyone, what is the one thing that you know you want to get better? Because prayer is very important. And we're living in an age now where people do believe in the supernatural. It's not even like it was before, where people are like, ain't no God, ain't nothing. They be like, let me put this rock on my neck. Lack of commitment and discipline. Well, the first thing is, are you being religious about your prayer? Meaning you think it has to be at nighttime, on your knees, within a specific period. It has to be for this amount of time. It has to be this or it has to be that. Okay, no. So the thing is that, now let me ask you this. Are there things that you're worried about? And what is it? What do you believe that there's something, what is it that you're supposed to be praying about? He said, oh, yes. Okay. Oh, yes. To which part? Is there something that you feel like, what is the thing that you feel like you're supposed to be praying about? Because it might be, it may literally be a stronghold. And, the same way, like, because sometimes people find themselves in spiritual strongholds and they don't even realize it. And that's when you know it's a spiritual stronghold. It's like every time you try to do that thing, it's just like there's just something that draws you away from it, no matter what, no matter how much effort you put into it. It's like, don't do that, don't say that, don't try, don't connect with that person. It is okay. I'm going to talk about it some, but if it's something that you want to discuss with me more one-on-one, go to the link in my bio, schedule a mini session. And in that mini session, I want you to talk about two things. Because one, something in your life you want to accomplish, because I'm more of an executive coach, but the prayer portion will be free. Because I ain't never going to charge nobody to talk about no prayer stuff. So, or send me an email. My email's in there too. Or subscribe. I think I have a worksheet in there where you can see my emails. Actually, let me just put it in there. Hold on. Let me just, because that sounds real like iffy. But if it's something specific, and that you don't want to talk about on here, because I understand that aspect as well. How do I log into here? I'm not active. Okay, so I log in using my email. Yes. Let me see what's in there. Boop, boop, boop. Yes, join my email list. And then I'm gonna add one that'll just say add link, email. And my email is just info@yannickWilliams.com. So yeah, what you have to do with that is, one, figure out what do you think is blocking? What do you feel like is blocking you from wanting to improve? What do you think is blocking you from praying? So one of the best ways to improve your prayer list is, one, take it out of any sort of space or rules or regulations. You can pray while you're washing the dishes. You can pray while you're driving your car. You can pray while you're on this live. You can pray, while you are brushing your teeth. You can pray in the shower. You can pray as you're walking your dogs. Like there's times so much where I call it a prayer walk. I walk my dogs and I pray around my neighborhood, or I'll go on a nature walk. I'll put on some praise and worship music and I'll pray. Now, this is the thing. Sometimes it's a spiritual hindrance when you want to pray because prayer works so much that there will be some warfare surrounding your prayers. But you can break it. It's really easy. You can do it once you recognize that that's what's happening. But just do it, and then don't put a time limit to it. It can be pray for 2 minutes, pray for 3 minutes, pray for 4 minutes, pray for 5 minutes, and it may be very likely that you're an intercessor because people who are intercessors, a lot of times they'll get a lot of warfare surrounding their prayers. So I want y'all to tell me, what is it that you would like to improve? What are some of the things that you want to see get better, friend? What's up, Roy, Hannah? And y'all, let's continue to like and share. I really appreciate Donnie, Cynthia, Master, Donald Atchison for being in here. Y'all go ahead and continue to like and pray. Yes, like and pray too. Like and share. like and share. So what are some of the things that you need to improve upon? Because I don't want to just sit up here and run and smack my gums. Let's make this as interactive as possible. Also, if you want to join as a guest, totally you can do that. You can completely do that. And yeah, I love this. And we can do a Q&A, all of that. Welcome. What's up, Curtis McDaniel? So what are the things that you feel like you've gotten behind in? That's another area. What are the areas in your life where you're like, man, I should be further along than this? Where are the places where you're like, man, I should be further along than this? Because those are some important areas too, friend. Because sometimes you'll sit there and you'll say, man, based on this, I see all these other people doing really, really well. I should be way further along than this. What are those areas in your life? Because I want to address them today. Because guess what? Everything that it is that you want, it's for today. It's for today. It's for this season. That time period of just waiting for something to miraculously get better, it's not that, friend. Also, too, that mindset is also not biblical. Humans were created to subdue, meaning we were created to be the governors of earth. We were created to be the ones who were equipped divinely by God to make the changes that we need to make in this world and to make the changes in our lives, right? And God gives us the favor. He gives us the strategy. He gives us the principles, and he gives us the tools, both naturally and supernaturally, to make the changes. So that concept of just waiting for the perfect season and for this gift to just land in your lap, it's crazy. It's unintelligent thinking, and it's not based on anything other than hopelessness. Waiting for some miracle to happen without you doing anything. And let me tell you this: I've seen people who are praying, who want a miracle that they have not prayed for. Faith without works is dead. Meaning, if you're believing for something and you're not acting on it, what's up awaits my destiny? You made it to the right place. If you're believing on something and you're not acting on it, cool. Some of y'all are like, man, I want my finances to change. I want to be a millionaire. Are you taking any millionaire steps? Do you have a product? You want to be a millionaire, but you don't even have a product. Did you file your LLC? That's an example of having a faith without works. You have to do something about that. Bobby, where are you from? I'm from Atlanta. Well, I live in Atlanta. Yeah. And I grew up here. I grew up in the South. My family's from Louisiana. My mom's family is from Kentucky. My dad's family is from Louisiana. Where are you from, Bobby? So faith without works is absolutely dead. What are the areas in which you know you need to put some work in, friend? And some of y'all are like, look, I mean, and I get it. Sometimes we don't put works in because we're tired. The last season left us feeling depleted. I'm trying to see where this knowledge is coming from. The Holy Spirit and about 15 years worth of experience coaching. So, and that amount of time in business as well. So if you want to be really honest, or if you want me to be really honest, this is one thing I love about not necessarily being in a corporation anymore, is I can be completely honest. Because in a corporation, I can't be like, God told me this. So they'll just say things like, how did you know that? But I could, but also couldn't, because you know how it is in corporations. So now I can completely be really honest about, this is how I know this. To the point now to where now I'm calling some of my old colleagues and being like, look, I had a dream about this. What's up? Don't do that. But now I can be like, I didn't realize that like God had to take me out of a certain environment so I can really, really follow my purpose with that. You love it. Good. So continue to like. I said we need to get these likes to at least 2,500 so we can get in this conversation. So I want y'all to also think about, what are some of the areas you've been avoiding? Some of your avoidance, right? Now I ain't gonna tell you how old I am. Bobby, come on now. And don't try to lead with your age to make it just to try to make it comfortable. Okay? Don't try to be like, well, I'm 51. How old are you? What does it matter? My soul is prospering. Yeah. I've been in sales almost my entire adult life. Literally, I started in sales when I was 20 years old. You're not going to be able to soft close me. Hey, I'm 51. Da da da. Hey, I would used to say, look, my cable bill was $210. How much is yours? To get the person to tell me how much their bills are. I know it doesn't. So, but that was real smooth. Or I love when people say, well, you know, da 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 da, right? I'm like, dude, don't try to sell me on that. Sell me on something crazy and just say, right? Da 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 da, right? No, I'm not agreeing to that. People will try to get you to agree to something just by saying right. So what are the right? That one. They try that one too. None of that works on me. You gotta just come straight up. Straight up. If you want me to answer some of your questions. And Bobby, you still haven't posted. What are some of the areas in your life that you want to improve? If you have no areas that you want to improve, then somewhere you've settled, friend. Somewhere you've settled. Your health. Okay, specifically, what do you want to improve with your health? Now, this is the case when it comes to improving your health. The first thing that you want to attack is your mindsets about your health. What do you think about your health? What do you think about your health? What is your mindset behind your health? Is there any places where you've said, what's up, Bad Apple? That's my friend, y'all. I'm so proud of you too. So proud. What are your mindsets behind your health? Is there anything about your health that you've said, hey, this won't improve? Nothing about your health and our health will improve. What is that? Have you been down so long in a specific area of your health that you're just like, you know what, I'm just going to take this medicine and keep going? And sometimes I've had some clients that were doctors, and there are times where I'm like, well, why do y'all, prescribe so many things instead of natural remedies? And she says, well, the first thing is you don't go to school to learn natural remedies. That's not where our training is. And actually, one of my students is a physician as well, and he said the same thing. But he said also, most people land in my office because they have not taken the pragmatic advice. They haven't taken the advice of, hey, go exercise every day for 30 minutes. Hey, limit be disciplined with your food and stuff. He's like, The reason they've landed in my office was because of a lack of discipline. So I'm just trying to keep this person alive at this point, and they've got to conquer the lack of discipline. And it's the same thing when it comes to our finances, our health, our relationships, everything. But what you have to do is to attack the source of the problem. So, what is it specifically that you want to improve about your health? Is it something? And let me tell you, the studies have proven that I think I'm going to say at least 60%, but I believe it's 72%. Most disease is based upon someone's lifestyle. Meaning there could be things in your DNA that make you naturally inclined to deal with that. And thank you so much for liking the live. That can make you naturally inclined to deal with that issue. Like maybe there's a lot of people in your family that had, high blood pressure, or they were diabetic, or they had, eczema, or they had all of these different things, right? So your DNA thank you so much for the heart. Your DNA may naturally lean towards that, but it's actually lifestyle and environmental factors. Thank you so much. Lifestyle and environmental factors that actually trigger the issue. So you can have it in your DNA, but it's your lifestyle that's the catalyst, and it's almost like lighting a firecracker. Your lifestyle and your environment can trigger and just lights the firecracker for that thing to go off. But sometimes we just embrace the curse. Hey, my mama was this, my daddy was this, everyone in the family was like that. Right? Everyone in the family was like that. And therefore, I'm going to struggle with this too. And friend, that is a lie from the pit of hell. You can change whatever you want to change with your health, and that change stops at whatever you're willing to stop. Gotta go, sister, but I've messaged you. Thank you. That change stops whenever you decide it's going to stop. That change will end based upon how much you're willing to change. Sometimes transformation doesn't happen because we're unwilling to transform. We just want somebody to do magic. We just want somebody to manipulate and just give you this magic formula. For instance, one of the things that I see is like all this weight loss injections and all this other stuff. Now, look, there are actual people who are diabetic who need to take Ozempic, right? Or people that have true metabolic issues. But you can take it to lose weight, but it still doesn't address the fact of where you have a lack of discipline and self-control. It doesn't address the fact that, guess what? Your heart still needs to be healthy. Your heart still needs to be healthy. Your heart needs exercise. Right? And if you're out of balance in one area, typically you're pretty out of balance in many areas of your life. Right? Some people have, one thing that had been on my spirit for a long time, especially on Friday, if y'all were on my live on Friday night, is the spirit of gluttony. Gluttony is not just about overeating. It's about overconsumption. And if you're gluttonous with your food, you're probably gluttonous with, everything, to where enough is never enough. You don't know when to say, all right, I'm done. You can be gluttonous about money, to where your life is completely unbalanced. All you do is go after money and you make no time for anything else. You could be gluttonous about attention. I need attention. I need attention. I need attention. And there's never enough attention, right? To the point now to where I think Chris Rock said it, like, this is the biggest addiction right now is attention. And you might be doing things that can really take away from your purpose, because maybe in this season you need attention so much that you post pictures or you brand yourself out of alignment with your actual calling. So you may want to establish this $1 billion brand, but most $1 billion brands are brands that are family safe, meaning it can be consumed by kids, by adults, whatever. And I'll give you the example. The type of money that Disney stars make versus stars that are busting it wide open. Y'all don't realize it. Like, I remember being at or watching something come up on TV, And I think it was an award show, and Cardi B was like, JoJo Siwa, I tried to get you. If you don't know who she is, it's a little girl that was on Disney. She had all these shows, and she always wore really bright colors or whatever. And she was like, I wanted JoJo Siwa to come meet my kids, and that money it costs to do this. She was like, I can't do it. She said, I can't afford it. To where those are the people that have the biggest money, Raven-Symoné money, family brands. Meaning, based on your brand, you can get a deal with Coca-Cola, you can get a deal with any company because your brand is safe. But sometimes you may be so focused on getting attention that you're doing things that will disrupt the destiny of your brand. Look, and I've been there, I've been there, I've seen it. Right? So what are the things that could be disrupting that? How could you change your thought process? Right? What are the things that need to change about your thought process? Because any change you want to make, you have to change your mind about it first. You have to change your mind about it first. Right? And you have to take hold of a different identity in that area first. Now that's hard because taking hold of an identity first requires for you to say, I'm a millionaire. And you've got to be willing to say, I'm a millionaire, even if you're $300,000 in debt. That's really hard to do because the evidence of that thing is saying, no, you're not, you broke. Right? So you have to be willing to truly take hold of that thing and redefine that thing before you ever in your life. You have to be willing to do so. So what are the ways that you need to redefine yourself? I want you to write in the comments, what is the new definition of yourself that you need to get into? Because now we can get into the topic. Thank you guys so much for liking it. Please continue to share. This is important information. This is destiny altering information. Right? This will give you a new migration, meaning you are going to be a part of a completely different kingdom. You're going to be a part of a different class of people by the time you make these decisions. Right? How are you going to redefine yourself? What are going to be the new things that you say about yourself? What are you going to start calling yourself? And write it in there. Writing is cathartic. How are you going to define yourself now? So, you can't be like, I think I was watching, what is the girl named Sukihana? And she's like, my mama was a hoe, my daddy was a hoe, my grandma was this and this and this and that. Those types of definitions create strongholds and places in your life, and it pushes you into a dry space and a dry place. And a dry place is just that. It's dry. It's ashy. I'm hosting a program called 30 to Eden. And it's about getting people back to the place of Eden. That was God's original intent for us, was Eden. I want you to get your business back to Eden, where you're creating in your business. Creating what? Creating new ideas, creating new finances, creating new systems, creating new leadership, meaning some of y'all need to pass the baton within your business and delegate, creating new destinies, new definitions, new ideas, new everything. Sometimes you can create a new business from your current business. Hey, this business is going to lead to this. Sometimes things have dried up because you let you put all of your everything into this one idea when really that was just supposed to be the starting place. Creating new ideas, creating new businesses, right? What are the things that this was supposed to lead into? And so it's going to be 30 days where I'm going to teach on specific topics on the principles, the tools, the systems, the affirmations, the habits that allow you to create and get back to that place where life and life is plush, bountiful. You don't feel like you're constantly battling, that you're conquering, you're governing, and you're assuming, right? One of the things that I had to remind myself of is, look, I'm not a master to money. Money is my slave. My business doesn't run me, I run my business, right? Sometimes we make things king that are supposed to be slaves to us, to where we're running behind it, but it should really be running behind us. So if this is something that resonates with you and you're ready to make a change, go to the link in my bio, schedule a one-on-one call, right? Schedule a mini session, or go ahead and apply to join my mentorship group, where we meet and we talk about more specifics within a small group, and I hold you accountable to making the changes. Sometimes, what's up, Roro? Sometimes we don't push forward in life, right? Thank you so much for liking, Donnie. Sometimes we don't push forward in life because we don't have any accountability, and we're quiet about our goals because we don't want any accountability. But most things that are going to grow, they grow within community. They grow with someone helping you. They grow, like when you're a community, it allows someone else to breathe life into that thing. It's really hard to, you don't have to keep everything that you do within a secret place. You just need to be within a group of people and like-minded people that want to see you win, that want to see you grow. What's up, Sir Lurch? Right? Why'd you say, Bobby Davis? Yes. Sometimes we've made things king that is supposed to be a slave to us, like money. Right? You're supposed to tell it what to do. It's not supposed to be telling you what to do. And just changing your mindset with that will allow you more freedom. Because then at that point, it's not an idol for you. Right? Well, do you have a question? Do you disagree? If you want to join the live, you can request to join. Is that how it works? Can someone request to join? I still don't understand everything about going live in TikTok, but yeah. What are some of the things? What are some of the things that you want to see? I'm going to post this right now. No, I don't want that. So what are some of the things that you've made king? You need 350 more followers to join live. Oh, for real? I forgot that they have that on there. So just type in any questions that you may have as well. Any questions that you may have. So what are the things that you've made an idol of? Meaning you think that it's higher than you, or that you just need this thing so bad that really is supposed to be your slave. Really something that you're telling it what to do. You're commanding it where it's supposed to go. Hey, money, I'm sending you out here. I need you to come back like this. And really what it says is, look, I'm sending $1,000 over here. I need you to come back as, 10,000. Look, I don't care if it starts $10, right? Some of y'all gamble with $10, and you say, "Look, I need this $10 to come back as 100." But what if you were to put it in there and it wasn't gambling? If you put a system behind it, right? What if instead of gambling for it, you use your divine wisdom, your God-given wisdom, intellect, and gifts, and said, "Look, I'm gonna put $10 in this thing, and I expect to get back 50 or 100. And then I'm gonna take this 100, I'm gonna put it into this, and it's gonna come back as 200. That's not a gamble. That's a system, friend. And the easiest way to do that is to ask yourself, what is a problem that you can solve right now? What's a problem you can solve right now? You don't need any extra education. You don't need anything. What is a problem you can solve right here, right now? I want you to type it in the chat. And y'all, let's continue to like and comment, so that way I can, we can make sure we're going in the right direction, because I have a lot that I can drop on y'all. What's a problem that you can solve right now? What's an area in your business, because all of you guys are a business, whether or not you realize it. Your life is an enterprise, and it's either producing fruit or it's going in the negative. Why? Because human beings were created to create. We were made in the image of God. God is our creator, and he made us like us. So we always create. Now, unfortunately, just like so I have a Rottweiler, and my dad used to always have Rottweilers and German Shepherds, working dogs. And one of the things that I remember as I was working with him about training them, and one thing that he always told me was, "This is one thing to know about a working dog. Maybe when I retire, I'll just go into like breeding working dogs, right?" And he said, one thing about a working dog is if you don't give them a job, they'll create one. Meaning, if you don't give them something to do, they're going to create a job on their own. But the job that they create for themselves is not going to be something that you like. They might be like, look, I'm pulling the siding off of the house. I'm tearing up these socks. Or they may create the job where they're the official hole digger. And all they do is dig holes in your backyard. And they're like, no, because that's my job. I am here to build trenches in this backyard just in case. Oh, you miss your Xena. She was I have a Rottweiler named Bruno. He's up front though. But did you ever see that with working dogs? If you don't give them a job, they create one, especially German Shepherds. They're like, oh, no. What if we need to escape out of this fence because there's a fire? So what we're going to do is dig holes and trenches all around the fence. What if somebody needs to be able to slide up underneath here? What if you're in the front yard and somebody attacks you? I need to be able to get to you quickly. They just start doing especially by the AC unit. Look, they do that by the AC unit because they want to cool off. You see what I'm saying? They will dig trenches. They will do everything. But that is because if you don't give them a job, they will create one. Well, guess what? Human beings, we're built very similarly, just with more options. If you don't give yourself something to do, what you will normally do is create a challenge for yourself. I used to talk with people all the time, especially some salespeople, where I'm like, you know why you have a hard time hitting your sales targets? And they're like, why? I said, because you didn't create a high target. So what you're doing is you're making a situation to where you get so far away from your sales goals and you want to say, well, let me see if I can hit it in 2 days. But if you were to double or triple, your goals, then instead of focusing on, can I hit it? It's how high can I go? So you have to give yourself the right target. So, you may say, hey, man, I really hate being in debt. I want to get out of debt. But instead of saying, hey, I want to get out of debt, what if you said, I want to make $1 million? And when I make that $1 million, I'm going to pay off all of my debts. That's a goal that pushes you far higher, faster. Because maybe you have $40,000 worth of debt. Well, if your goal is to make $1 million, which to make $1 million, it just depends on what you have. A few options. Maybe you have $1,000 product that you sell to 1,000 people. That's $1 million. Maybe you have a $1 product that you sell to 1 million people. Maybe you have a $10 product that you get what I'm saying. But you decide however you want to do it, and you go backwards. Well, let's say you make your goal $1 million, then $40,000 is nothing to pay off when your goal was to make $1 million and you start pushing towards making $1 million. Now you're no longer even thinking about the 40K because you're like, yeah, I got this and this and this coming. As soon as I hit this, I'm gonna pay that off in full. But I'm not even worried about that because my goal is $1 million. So setting the right target also puts you back on the right path. Having the right job, meaning what it is you're looking to accomplish and finish, will keep you out of trouble. How many of you guys have found yourself making crazy decisions because you were bored? Because you were bored, you got in the wrong relationships, you started spending time with the wrong people, you started hanging around places, you started drinking too much, all these things simply because you didn't have enough to do. Everybody. I know, me too. Me too. But if you were focused on making $1 million, you wouldn't have time to be at the bar every night. Because you're going to have to do that thing that's going to help you do that. You wouldn't have time. So if you don't give yourself the right goal, and if you don't give yourself a job to do, if you don't give yourself something to accomplish, you're going to create one. And typically it's going to be one that's not going to be conducive to where you need to be. It's going to just be what ends up falling in your lap. And especially for spiritual people, the enemy, the devil wants you to do that. And the devil is very real, y'all. I've seen some things that will just literally make your head spin, no pun intended. And so he's waiting for you to just fold your hands up a little bit. Next thing you know, you on websites that you ain't got no business being on. Next thing you know, you have an addiction to those types of websites. Next thing you know, you are doing that instead of being out there making $1 million. Good afternoon. What's up, Ralph? 456. Bobby laughing, but Bobby, ain't it true, Bobby? He's just waiting for you to get in that moment where you just folding your hands and be like, I ain't got nothing to do. Now you on places where you ain't got no business. Yup. Now you can't get off for those places. Now instead of being at work, you scrolling at the wrong stuff, doing the wrong things that ain't got nothing to do with your destiny. Now you got an addiction. Now you got to find a way to hide your addiction. Now you try to break off. Now you need help. You need outside help, which is fine. It's not about not getting into that place. Wherever you are, just deciding to do better and getting the support necessary to go where you need to go and be with who you need to be. Bobby said, yep, that's exactly how it happens. I know that's how it happens. Women get addicted in that same way too. Everyone's struggling. Now we're in a place where it used to be, look, that was a man's problem. Now it's women and men, young kids, whatever. But it all comes from that little folding of the hands. And you're not opening up and being honest with yourself. Yeah, get the help. Because think about it like this. How much time, just even from that, because I can't say what that is or, they'll flag me. But even from that, how much time do you waste? Literally. You could be working on your business. You can be coming up with ideas. You're not coming up with creative ideas there. Right? And the next thing you know, that same thing you were doing out of boredom will have you in bondage. The same thing you were doing out of boredom, now you got to pay child support for 18 years just because you were bored on a Friday night. Or you were bored in a season, or you weren't feeling good about yourself. So, but let me tell you, you can strategize your way. Like there's nothing that's not unfixable. So this is not about shaming you. It's just about making decisions that are consistent. Bobby said, dang, it's true. Is it not true? Y'all stop me when I'm lying. Y'all, let's go ahead and like. Let's continue to like. Thank you so much, Ralph, for liking the live. Share this live with some people. And I'm here to say y'all can get out of it. So I want you to comment, what's one idea you've been holding close to your chest that you just haven't done anything with? What's one idea? It's funny because it's true. Right. It is true. We all do it. And let me tell you, the enemy wants to steal your time because he knows your time is limited. You have unlimited ideas. You have unlimited, amounts of grace and mercy from God. You have unlimited opportunities. We live in the world of the World Wide Web. You have so much of that that's unlimited. But the one thing that you don't have an unlimited amount of is time. And so most of your warfare is going to be against your time and against your focus. Because if I can change your focus, I can steal your time. If I can distract you, I can steal your time. If I can get you caught up in petty arguments, I can steal your time. Sometimes I go on TikTok, and right now the thing is people arguing about relationships. What men did this, and why Black women do this, and then why someone started that, and and it's the problem. Women don't want to be women. Men don't want to be men. Whoa. And every time I look at it, all I say is, look at all this time being stolen. There are no spoils in this conversation other than people wanting to air their grievances and possibly, just feel more significant. They just want more attention. How much time is being lost from this conversation that will bear no fruit? Meaning, don't go to war, in any war that has no spoils. Like, if you go to war based on your business, there's spoils. Hey, Barbie, I ain't seen you in a while, girl. So hopefully you've been good. Your health has been good. Your business has been good. Your family's thriving, everything else, right? But The one thing the enemy wants to do is steal your time. And so and this is how you know, this is how all time is stolen. Distraction. Thank you so much, Barbie. Time is stolen based on distraction, a lack of priorities, not understanding your vision, not having goals, and hopelessness. Meaning you don't think, thank you so much for sending the bracelet. And I have on a pink bracelet too, so that reminds me of that. That's how your time's stolen. And so during that time, in all of those areas, what you will notice is you'll start getting into battles that have no spoils, meaning there's no win in it for you other than feeding your ego and thinking about whether or not you're right and trying to be right. But let me ask you this, and that thing you're trying to be right about, is there anything in it for you other than an ideology? I remember one time, there was a time where I was literally posting on Instagram. Now, one of the things that I hold tight is my relationship with God, because God will speak directly to my life. And if you don't know how to hear from God, start the process. And I remember I was posting something political on Instagram. And right when I was about to press send on my story, I heard God say, if you would spend more time evangelizing than politicizing, the whole world would be in a different place. I haven't posted anything political since. He said, if you would, listen to that. He said, if you would spend more time evangelizing than politicizing, this world would be in a different place. And really what it was is me airing my grievances. But if I would have been on my post with what I'm supposed to do, which is by helping humans, helping to influence people to become better humans, to become better leaders, and to be focused on their assignment and what they're supposed to be doing and ways that they can improve their families, improve their communities, and really take action, because faith without works is dead. So you can have as many beliefs about how things should be, but if you're not actually doing something about it, it does not work. Exactly. 30 minutes of your life on a panel, right? But guess what? You could spend 30 minutes making one sandwich for a homeless person and change someone's life. Doing things, right? So what is it that you could be doing over nothing? Exactly. That is all that. Don't blame the people you're doing that with. Anytime you join something, just say, what's the purpose of this conversation? And what are people going to get from it? What are they going to gain? And how is this going to push the world forward? If I can't see any spoils in a conversation, if I don't see any spoils in a conversation, I don't engage. Meaning there's no bounty, there's no reward, there's no nothing. Fighting about Trump and Biden. Let me tell you something that I gleaned from spiritually. Lord, can I say this? I believe, and this hasn't been confirmed yet, I believe that most of them are actually playing on the same side, and that this is all a facade. And that none of their intentions are for good. It's getting everyone to believe that you're either on one side or the other, and they're just really playing all these different things to where if we feel like one's winning and one's losing, they're going to ignore the fact that we're all pushing the same agenda. We're just pushing the same agenda from different aspects, which is controlling the population, fighting with each other. So that's why right now in this season, I'm not getting into anything political, because I truly believe in my heart, and I'm going to actually pray about this. I truly believe in my heart that they're all on the same side on a high level. I'm not saying that everyone underneath in government, they're all there, but I'm talking in the highest levels, and those individuals are part of the highest levels. They all have the same agenda. They're just attacking it and creating the illusion that they're doing something different, but they're not. I thought I was the only one of those people that thought these people were on the same team. Yeah, when you really pull back the layers. Now, I'm not saying that I believe everyone in government is all on the same team. I do believe that there are lesser people in government who still believe that they're fighting on opposite ends. I'm talking on the highest levels of government. I don't believe that they're actually in opposition with each other. I think they're just doing this. Okay, you're coming out? All right. Just to make sure that the people don't, just to ensure, oh, yes, Lord, just to ensure that the people don't suspect what we're doing, we're just going to keep doing this. Like I would not be surprised if Donald Trump gets reelected again. Because I do think it does create this illusion of this and that, and people thinking that they're winning. But when you really look at the grand scheme of things, of how things are changing and how the world is evolving, you really see the same ideologies and the same trends. Look at there. Yes, you're right. There are outsiders, right? But when you really look at it, overall, the statistics are not changing. No matter who's in office, the wealth gap has continued to expand regardless, right? So really what you need is someone godly. Because this is the hard thing is we're not going to see change until we see people who put God's priorities first, truly. Because if it's not God's priorities in some form or fashion, it's always going to be a level of wickedness to it. It's just wrapped differently, and it's wrapped based on who they want to receive it. Yes, that's what it really is. So you got to be really careful. And for even every decision, everything, I pray about it more than anything else. I don't really listen to what they're saying. And another thing that can really help too, to take the emotion out of it, because once you start getting emotional, you don't really think so clearly. What I like to do occasionally when I'm in that space is I'll go in and I'll actually just read the bills, right? Spiritual wickedness in high places. I'll go and read the laws that they're passing. And if you read the laws that they've been passing over the past 20 years, they all say the same thing: control. They want to have tighter control over their population. And it doesn't matter. They want more control, less freedom. And it doesn't matter what, and it really makes you, it just makes you clear headed to where don't even look at who is in office. Just look at the consistency over what's been happening and what the goal is, and it's control. And it's been the same whether it was a Democrat in office, Republican who was in the House, or whatever. And that's the part that's really scary because most people miss this. Just go and start reading, especially if you have time. Some of y'all might be retired, right? But it's not just during the pandemic. Go all the way back for years and years and years. You can go back and read it for decades, right? Spiritual wickedness, yes, in high places. So that's what you're really looking for, and really like read things and take the people out and take like your neighbors out, take all of them and just say, what are they trying to do? And there's times where I pray, like, God, what is this really about? There's been times where I actually asked the question. God was like, this is what this is actually about. And I'm like, oof. And then you can see it consistently. So, and then next thing you know, you're fighting amongst each other. Next thing you know, and then the more that you have discord, right? The less love that's going around, the less people are thinking. Because now people are not thinking, and I see this a lot, especially when I see people doing lives about politics. They're not even thinking about the big picture. They just want to win the argument. And we end up missing the big picture of what's really happening. Like, why is it so important for us to not be on the same page? Why does it seem like they want to ensure that they are on the same page? And the biggest fear of any leader that wants to stay in control is for the people to come together. That's the one thing they fear the most, because anytime that people have come together, united on something, something falls. Exactly. A house divided will surely fall. But whenever people come together about something specifically, whatever institution and whatever kingdom, or your eyes off the ball, exactly, whatever kingdom is there will topple. So the goal is for that to never happen. And there are wicked people in very high places, to where even the people right underneath them typically are unaware of what happens. And don't think it's one side or the other. Everyone, they're all involved. Yeah, they're all involved. They all join up into these societies. They all did all of this Freemasonry and everything else, and they're all coming together, pretending like they're on opposite sides when really they're working together. And they're just creating an illusion. They're just creating an illusion. And sometimes there are things to where I'll say, man, I really pray that that's not true, because that level of evil is just incomprehensible, right? Where there's agreement, God commands blessings. Exactly. And so sometimes when you find yourself in those places, right? And I ask myself, what are some things that everyone in this room can agree on that they want? And then you just start there. What does everyone in this room want? What does everyone need? Before we even get into the nuances of this or that, right? Because some of the things we argue about are just the different inclinations that God put into us to keep the world in balance, right? A happy life. Everyone wants a happy life. I believe everyone wants, education for their children, opportunities for their kids. Like, there's just certain things that everyone wants. We must become one lip. Absolutely, Paul. And you use this technique also in your families, in your business, whenever you're trying to bring people together, because that's always the biggest battle that you're going to have to face, is getting people to come together. God has turned his back. Can you blame him? What's a woman? God has not turned his back. Let me tell you, there's never a time where, like, let me ask you this, Barbie, will you ever turn your back on your children if you have kids? Will you ever completely turn your back on them? But sometimes you have to let them, exactly. But sometimes you have to let them figure some things out, right? Like, you've told them, but sometimes you got to let them figure some things out, right? Easier said than done, but God. Yes, but it can be done. But usually you start off with one area. What is one area that everyone wants? So, for instance, for me, when I go into a business and I'm helping that business get together, I don't have faith. I wish I did. Well, you're starting today. Don't say you don't have faith. Say you're learning how to. You're in the process of gaining faith. That's it. Because whatever you say is going to be true. And also too, Barbie, are you dealing with high blood pressure and headaches? I don't even really get into law of attraction, but do you deal with high blood pressure and or headaches like migraines? So, and this is and just start today. Look, I am growing in my faith, right? Thank you for joining. No, not really. Okay, good. So what you want to do is you want to focus on one area where the people within your community, within your family, within your business, what's one thing that everyone wants? And then you work backwards from here. Here's the one thing that everyone wants. Like, one of the things that I love starting with is saying, how can we make everyone in this business make more money and have more of their personal time back? That's something that no one in the business, no one in the organization is going to say that they don't want. How can I give you more of your time back and give you more money? And then I work backwards from there. And I find the areas in the business that need more improvement, that if we improve this thing, everyone can get more money and get more of their time back. Meaning they're not spending so much time in this place. Time and time again, I've never seen it to where that's not something that everyone wants. It has never, ever, ever been the case. And all of my time and years of coaching and developing, that anyone in that business says, no, I want to be here longer. And I don't want my income to grow. So you start there. But the first place that you really want to start with too is just figuring out, right, where you wasted your time. Because you can't keep other people from wasting their time, but what you can do is keep them from wasting yours and you wasting yours. Thank you, DJ Mafia. I appreciate that. I enjoy this, but I have to go now. But I can't wait to see you again. Yes, and what times do you get on? Wednesdays at noon, and then we're starting in the mornings at 7:30. But if you do, hi. And then Bobby, let me know if you want to join the small group to where we meet on Thursdays and we talk within a more intimate setting and we talk more specifically where I can interact with you and you don't have to gain 350 followers, to talk. What's up? What's up, DJ Mafia? What's up, Divine Fire? So you want to ask yourself, where's my time being wasted? What, and how do you know that your time is being wasted? Is that thing doesn't feed you in the right areas. It doesn't feed you in the right areas. So I have this thing where I think of a place of balance, right? If it doesn't contribute towards my purpose or what I'm supposed to be doing in my roles, right? My roles as a CEO, my roles as a wife, my roles as a stepmom, my roles as a friend, whatever. So if it doesn't contribute towards my purpose, if it doesn't contribute towards my peace, right? And if it doesn't contribute towards my sense of play, and if it doesn't contribute towards my position and my purpose as a daughter of God, then I typically just cut it out. So, and what that does is it gives you your time back, because remember, the enemy is always looking to steal our time. He wants to steal our time on earth by getting us addicted to things and getting a part of habits that are going to reduce our time here on earth. He wants to steal our time back to where we can't pursue our purpose. First, you have to have a purpose. Barbie, go to my profile and there's a workbook on there called Cultivating Vision and Strategy. It's only $15. Fill out the workbook and you are going to know your purpose. And pray. Even if you don't believe in God right now, I want you to pray, God, if you are real, I want you to guide me through this workbook and hinder any blockages from that workbook. And I guarantee you are going to receive that. Just do it, because purposelessness and not having a purpose will lead you into hopelessness, meaning you don't have a purpose, so you're not taking action on anything that's purposeful. You're just kind of going through life. And when you're going through life, you're just kind of waiting to kick the bucket. And you're just going through the same things over and over again, getting in petty arguments, all this other stuff, things that don't make sense. So what you want to do is you fill out the workbook, because I used to have it as a course and I realized some of our attention spans just not going to. Yes, but you still being here is showing that he's there, and he'll always send you a sign. But you may need someone to help walk you through this. But I'm gonna say start you off with just filling out the vision workbook and just saying, boom, yes, God. I say that all the time. God, if you are there, and you know what? Have you noticed that you might get a little sign? You may have to. You'll just get a little sign. I've said that before. I've said it with silly things. I'm going to tell you guys something that I did. And hopefully this helps you, Barbie. Now, that is creating a better balance, and balance is very much necessary. Yes, balance is necessary, and balance will help you to not get your time stolen from you. Because when things are out of balance, you have to put too much time and attention into the wrong thing, or too much time and attention into one thing. You want to have balance with your health. If not, you're going to have to put too much time and attention into your health. You want to have balance with your money. If not, you're going to have to put 2 times, say it in the past tense. I used to not have purpose and someone tried to break me. You are not broken. If you're on this live and you're still breathing, you're still able to breathe in air, and you're not 10 feet under. Is it 10 or 15 feet under? Y'all tell me, is it 10 or 15 feet under? Whichever one that is, you're not broken. The second side to it is you have to let go of, hey, they try to break me, but I'm still undefeated. Because as long as you have air in your lungs, you have time left, period. Barbie, I'm telling you, you have time, but you've got to get connected to a vision. What are you going to use your time for? What is God putting in your spirit and saying, hey, no, you have not fallen and you can't get back up? Fred, what was it? Fred Sanford? No, it wasn't Fred Sanford. Who said that? I'm falling and I can't get up. No, you can get up. You're on this live right now. This is a sign that you can get up. Let me tell you, once you decide what you want to do and you decide, someone can victimize you, but you choose to be a victim. Meaning someone can do some, I've had people do some really foul things to me, but I decide that I'm not going to allow them to win. It was the First Alert commercial. I know it's something. I'm falling. I can't get back up. Barbie, you are not a participant in the First Alert commercial. And if so, we're going to get you a lifeline thing. All right. Somebody going to come pick you up. Right. And I'm going to tell you, like I tell people in my senior dance class, they're like, girl, we're going to drop it like it's hot. I was like, now, if you dropped it, you did not, you're still alive. Barbie, I want you to go to the link in my bio, finish the workbook. And if you finish that workbook, I'm going to do a free session with you. Get the workbook, and then I'll give you 45 minutes to an hour of my time completely free. But first thing you have to do is finish the workbook. You have not lost your lifeline. I promise you haven't. Show enough. Right. So I told them in the dance class, I said, look, y'all can drop it like it's hot at 83 years old, but you better be able to pick yourself back up, because I ain't picking you up off the floor. Some of them still do it. I'm looking for crawling around. No, just pick it up. Unless you're literally talking about you lost it, then sometimes that's, the thing. But if you still have breath in your body, God will still use you. Okay. And this is one thing I love. I was reading through the Bible, I do it all the time, and I was like, Lord, everybody in here was old doing stuff. We think our life is over at 35. Right. We think we're old at 35, 33, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. I was like, they were doing things at 80 still, and he was still pulling stuff out of them. And this is what I love. God would draw purpose out of them until the day that they close their eyes. Isn't that crazy? I tell the students in my class, most of the students in my senior dance class, they are, and it sounds weird calling them students because they're all way older than me, but I teach them every week and they love coming. Their average age is 78. Now, all of them are like, one of my students was like, well, I hope I see you next week if I'm still alive. And I'm like, friend, my grandma is 94. Right. I'm like, my grandma is 94. Friend, are you going to lay down for 25 years? And when I started telling them that, I said, are you literally going to lay down and do nothing and be bored and sit in front of the TV for 25 years? For the last quarter of your lifetime, are you going to sit down and do nothing? They say, well, I guess if you put it that way, do something. And if you happen to close your eyes and you never wake up and you're surfing in Bali, ain't that a great story to tell in heaven? Well, I would be bragging. My last breath was on the surfboard at 80 something years old with a bikini on, period. Right? I'm gonna tell everybody when I get there. It wasn't laying down. Right? The 70-year-old passed me on the swim. How did that feel? Look, so I've been teaching this dance class to these seniors, right? And I teach this class to everybody. And some people take private lessons with me doing this, and there'll be people in their 20s, their 30s. And what I'm thinking to myself is, y'all, these 78-year-olds are killing y'all, because regular practice, even in an advanced age, regular practice is going to beat someone not doing anything. And they are in shape to where they can move and their legs are staying underneath them for an hour. And then I'll get people who are 25, 22, 35, 40, 50 who cannot hang, only because my seniors, they train every week. So they get shown to the point where I had to start practicing more at home, because I realized when I told them to practice, they started practicing for real, and I had to get in better shape to be able to continue to teach them. Ain't that crazy? Because I'm like, oh no, y'all not gonna outpace me because y'all are practicing regularly. Yeah, so do that. But really, what you want to do is get reconnected with a vision. Give yourself something new to What an eye-opening experience, right? Thank you. And if you guys want to join my small group, I have a small group that meets about specific topics every single week, meaning we have a meeting tomorrow. Go to the link in my bio and click apply to join the new luminaries. And this is when we look at what your specific vision is. And I'm going to start pulling that vision out of you. And it's not going to be all at once, but it's going to be week by week, step by step of getting you closer to where you're not feeling hopeless. If you're alive, things can change. And anything about your life where you feel like nothing can change is the devil talking to you. And maybe he may have been, you had to dig deeper to hang in with the tenacity endurance level. Yeah, I had to dig deeper. I had to dig deeper because they were showing up and showing out. I can't wait. This is an area where I procrastinated. I recorded some testimonies that I need to edit of them, and they scare me sometimes. And then now they're getting real frisky. They're like, "When you don't bring your daughter here?" I'm like, "No, y'all talk way too grown for me to bring her in here. Y'all been grown women and men for a long time, and I am not bringing her 10-year-old ears in here." Because y'all say some crazy stuff. Y'all been grown for 60 plus years. No, ma'am. No, sir. They're like, we gonna be good. No, you're not. I've seen y'all act up consistently. No, you're not. Because sometimes I gotta be like, earmuffs. So, but anyway. So if you have time, there's still something for you to do. And sometimes hopelessness sets in because you're not doing anything. And your spirit is like, put me to work. I was saying this earlier, right? Yeah. I was saying this earlier. Just like my dad was telling me when he used to breed German Shepherds and Rottweilers back in the day. And he says, one characteristic you have to remember about a working dog. So we're talking German Shepherds, Rottweilers, Malinois, Cane Corsos, things like that. If you don't train them and if you don't give them a job, they will create one. But the job that they create for themselves is never going to be something that you like. We are the same way. If we don't give ourselves a challenge, then we will create a challenge in our lives to overcome. And the next, but it's not going to be something that's going to be, what's a nice word to use here? It's not going to be something edifying. It's going to be, think of the types of mistakes you've made because you're bored. Yeah, it's never going to be something that you like. They're going like I said, they're going to be the professional hole diggers. They're going to be like, well, owner, like what if something happens in the front yard and I can't get to you? So let me dig this hole to where if someone comes and attacks you in the front yard, I can get to you within 3 seconds. What if there's a squirrel infestation in the front yard? Oh, this AC, there's not a trench dug deep enough around this AC unit. What if one of us needs to cool off next to this AC unit outside? There's a fan connected to it. Now, next thing you know, your dog has, dug up all the electrical around your AC unit because you didn't give them a job to do. Or look at all these mismatched socks. Why don't we just rip them all up so you can't tell which one's the different? Right? What about all this cloth just sitting here waiting for, what if someone needs to make a bed out of it? And next thing you know, you have all these ripped up socks somewhere and they're like, and then they got it all piled up and they're laying on your ripped up socks and underwear. So without vision, yes, the dogs will do whatever. Without vision, you will do whatever. And you will caught up and you make decisions because you're bored. Or you'll make decisions because one of the things that boredom does and a lack of vision does is it makes you feel insignificant. Why? Because humans were created. Thank you so much. Humans were created. They were created to subdue. They were created to govern. They were created to fix problems. And so when you don't have any problem to fix, you start feeling insignificant. And then next thing you know, you're acting out of that feeling of insignificance. So now you're doing things to get attention. Now you're falling into traps with people that have no business in your life that just give you an ounce of significance. Oh, you so smart, you so pretty. Well, I already knew that, right? But now you're getting trapped by vultures and vampires that all they have to do to gain your attention and acting out of character, right, Paul? You're acting out of character because someone made you. They filled that hole of insignificance. But when you really take advantage of your destiny and your purpose. And like I said, if you can't identify what your vision is and what your purpose is and what your destiny is, go to the link in my bio and there's a workbook called Cultivating Vision and Strategy. All you're going to do, purchase the workbook. It's only 15 bucks. That is one trip to Chick-fil-A now. And fill out the workbook. I used to have it as a course, and I realized most of your attention spans will not allow you to get through a course. But what you can do is either fill it out on your phone if you have good notes or something like that on your phone, or write the answers, read through it, and write the answers on a piece of paper. And by the end of it, you're going to know your purpose. And then what you do is just take the first steps to acting on your purpose to start the problem. People who are operating based on their vision and purpose, it's very unlikely that they feel insignificant, because the feeling of insignificance doesn't stem from what everyone else is saying. It's either A, something that someone else has said about you that you took hold of towards someone else, and their own insignificance said something to you, because guess what, they feel a certain way about themselves and they need friends to hang out in that area too. Or it's that demon within them that is trying to speak curses into your life that wants company. Or it could be trauma. But now, once you figure out what your vision is and what your purpose is, going after that thing is going to make you feel significant. Why? Because God's purpose for you will always contribute back to helping other humans in some form or fashion. Whether you're helping them to clean up their house, whether you're helping them to build their dream home, where you're helping to feed them, whether you're helping make sure that their students pass, whether you're helping them keep their house clean to where maybe they're struggling with their mental health and they need someone to come in to help them clean up, whether you're helping them to, unlock things in their lives. That's one thing that is a big part of my purpose. It's helping people unlock and get unstuck. Whether it's helping them to make a good car purchase, whether it's helping them to repair their credit, whether it's helping them to cook, maybe it's someone like me. I'm not the best cook in the world, so I might have to go to a restaurant, or maybe you create a cookbook to show me this things, right? Or maybe it's right, anything. It's going to require doing. And when you do and you get involved in something, it starts to tear away at that insignificance, because your life has purpose and it has meaning. Now, if you get involved in those things and you still feel insignificant, there's still something in you that says like, I don't really like me, or why, you need more attention. You need more of this, you need more of that. That's eating up at you. Then, okay, I need to go into counseling. I might need to speak with a minister or pastor. I might need some deliverance. I need something, because a cursed seed has been sown into my life. And maybe it was sown by your parents. Maybe it was because you were rejected at one point and no one took the time to help you unearth that seed of rejection. And then if you do have that going on, you don't have to post it in here because I know it's very personal. Go to the link in my bio, schedule a mini session with me, and we'll start the process of unearthing that seed of rejection so you can fulfill your purpose, because that's something that has to be unearthed. And this is how you know you have some cursed seeds that have been planted in your life. When you always find a reason to not, and this is how you know it's a stronghold, it's a curse, it's a cursed seed. When you can never find the energy to do the things that you know you're called to do, that's a stronghold. You can see it clearly. You know what you're supposed to do, but you cannot find the energy, or you find every excuse in the world not to do it and why it shouldn't be you. It's a seed. And yes, once you can identify and locate it, you can eradicate that. Yes. The hardest part is it's very difficult to identify that. I've always, for the most part, either through prayer and saying, hey, God, show me what this is. And this has been a prayer that maybe some of y'all can use. This is the result that I'm seeing. Show me where this stemmed from. What am I missing? Or it can be from mentors, from counselors, from coaches to help you see the things that you've been blinded to. And sometimes you're blinded to them because they've been with you for so long that you think it's a part of your personality when really it was a cursed seed. And this is a quote that I heard over the weekend that I'm just like, oh, that any seed you sow into cursed ground will become a curse. That's like, and think about it like this. If you planted if you planted something, an organic seed into ground that you've put strychnine and poison and everything else in, and the soil had poison in it, is that going to grow a healthy plant? Even if the seed was organic. And so what that means is you want to get to the root of the problem, and then you start fertilizing it. And part of it is, sometimes it's just taking action that can help you get to the root of it. Because sometimes it's just like fighting the battle of, hey, I'm not going to let this voice win. I'm not going to let this insecurity win. And you just do that thing so much to where preparation and execution equate to being confidence. Because there's certain times, anytime preparation and practice is what makes someone very confident. And sometimes you can just force yourself, hey, I'm going to prepare and then I'm going to do, and keeping that in balance, not 1,000 years of preparation and you do it one time. It's keeping it in balance. You prepare, you do, you prepare, you do, and you do it even when it's awkward. Okay. So that can help you to become more confident in a thing. Right? Like the first few times I went live, it was very awkward. It was very, very awkward. Thank you. My earrings come from my jewelry company. I have a jewelry company called Ear Expressions, EARXPRESSION. And get some earrings for your girlfriend, your wife, your daughter, your whomever. All right. Thank you so much for the roses, JC. I really appreciate that. So, and then go back and just figure out, okay, where was this seed planted? And then be determined to uproot it. Because sometimes that seed is familiar to you. And when things become familiar to you, it's like it's become your best friend. Like fear could have become your best friend. You're so used to being afraid that you're like, oh, when that voice starts saying, don't do that, they're just trying to hurt you. Don't do that. You're just going to fail again. And you're like, you're right, friend. Fear can become your best friend. Depression can become your best friend because it's been the voice that's been speaking to you for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years to where unknowingly, this has become your BFF. Anxiety could have become your BFF. Hopelessness can become your BFF. And think about it like this, right? A lot of times, okay, I'm going to say it like this. Proximity is power. To where sometimes you've picked your friends not because they're friends of yours that fit your life and are in alignment with God's purpose for your life and your purpose. Sometimes they're your friends because they've just always been around. And then you end up in unequally yoked friendships and relationships and purposeless relationships, and sometimes destiny stealing relationships, time stealing and thieving relationships just because they've been close to you for that long. Right. It's the same thing. So the same way we can see that in people, as I just opened up some things for some of y'all, the same way you can see that in people, sometimes that can come with spirits and disorders. Fear has become your friend. Depression has become your friend. Hopelessness has become your friend because they've been around for so long. You're comfortable there. And now it's a toxic friendship, but you haven't eradicated this toxic friendship. Yes, trauma bonds. But sometimes it's spiritual and sometimes it's natural. And usually the spiritual seed will attract the natural problem to you. So you have the seed of fear, or you've been operating with the spirit of fear to where maybe you did come through some trauma, that fear got released in your life and no one ever helped you to pull that out, or you never really pulled that out. So now you're going through life fearful, and guess what? Then you attract vultures. When you are fearful, right? When you are fearful, fearful people will always attract narcissists and or people who are going to victimize you, because all they have to do is to be that confident voice. So instead of gaining your own confidence, you're getting secondhand confidence, to where your confidence is coming from this person because now you have someone to protect you. I'm so afraid, I need this person, and you attract vultures. But think about it like this, right? When you become confident, people who are vultures do not want to be around you. Why? Because they have to battle your confidence. They've got to battle your self-confidence, and they don't want to have to battle your self-confidence, because they've got to really reach through that layer of you being grounded in yourself. Thank you so much for sharing round 4, 5, 6. They've got to battle through that layer of you being so confident in yourself and what you're supposed to be doing in this life. They're like, look, I don't need to go through this. It's going to take too long for me to break their mind down. But if you already have fear and a lack of confidence, they already know it's not going to take much time for them to manipulate you and to control you, because that layer of confidence is so thin that it's going to be like a piece of paper or a Kleenex. Boom, I'm in there. So they don't seek, like, no one seeks the tough battle. For the spiritual people in here, for the believers, one of the best things that you can do if you want to fight, if you want to win battles against the enemy, is to fortify your belief and your relationship with God so much that the enemy's like, I ain't got time for this. Let me go for the easy target. I'm gonna set up some traps, but I ain't got time for this. This is too much work. Let's move on. And remember, he says that the enemy is looking for those whom he can devour. He didn't say the enemy is looking for those that he can bite. He's looking for whom he can devour. Meaning, I'm going to get a whole meal. This is going to be a TKO if I do this. And so you'll notice, when your faith gets so strong, like I know sometimes the enemy be like, look, let me not even send her this problem. I'm going to send her this problem, but I know she's just going to go pray about it. And I noticed things started to change when that was my answer to everything. Like, oh Lord, if I send her this surprise, all she's going to do is go pray about it. God going to tell her what to do. And then she just going to do it and endure. All she going to do is go to her daddy and talk to her husband. And between her daddy in heaven and her husband, this problem's going to be resolved. I can feel it. We're like, oh, you mad? Yeah, he'll have to flee. She gonna talk to her daddy in heaven and her husband, and this issue gonna be resolved, and she just gonna still be happy. Yes, absolutely. So go back and if you need help with this, the first thing is, I say this before I work with anyone. What is it that you want to accomplish? Once you know your life's vision, the battles that you've had to fight make sense. Because you're going to receive opposition that is that's commiserate or in alignment with what it is that you're trying to achieve. You are going to receive opposition and fights in direct alignment with what it is that you're trying to achieve. So let's say you're like, hey, God is calling me to be a songwriter. Your opposition is going to be like, well, how come every time I try to go get equipment, somebody tell me, oh, you're not supposed to be doing that. That ain't going to make no money. This and this and this. And it's always going to be trying to sow seeds of doubt into that area. You know, if you want to be, look, if you want to be a great husband and a father, right? The enemy's going to send you lots of ladies of the night. If you want to be, a wife and a mother, you're going to always, the enemy's always going to try to get you to send you some beautifully wrapped person that is going to have commitment issues. That's going to be like, I don't know if I believe in marriage, but they're going to have all the rest of the qualities you're looking for. You're always going to receive opposition in the direct area of your purpose and your vision. But once you know what your vision is, you can recognize the opposition when it comes. And it's always just some form of distraction or a way for you to settle for less. And we're not talking about like all the superficial things, right? Meaning settle for less. Like, it may have been your purpose, and it may be your purpose. Let me say that in present tense. It may be your purpose to be a physician. You're going to receive every type of opposition to steal your time. And you're like, I don't even have, I'm too old now. It's going to be this distraction, next distraction. Next thing you know, you're going to say, I'm too old to be going to school for 10 years. I'm too this, I'm too that. Well, let me tell you, friend, my grandma's 94. And matter of fact, my grandmother got her bachelor's degree at 45 or 47. So that means you would still have at least 20 years plus in that area. You would still have 30 years left to practice Satan's distraction. Absolutely. You would still have 30 plus years left to practice. So these are some examples, and these are some of the things that I would like to help you guys with so that you can get back to Eden. Eden was a place of creation where God's principles, his precepts, his standards were established, and his original intent for us was established. And so your goal should be to get back into that place of creation to where you're doing something new. Some of y'all are bored because you haven't created anything in the past decade. You haven't created everything. You're not a one-hit wonder. You have to do something new. And many of you guys, this is how I know it's God. Many of you guys are believers. God's highest standard is not transformation. It's renewal. He makes things new. He doesn't refurbish an old car, right? He makes all things new. You get born again. Everything is new, new, new. You get a new purpose, a new identity, at times a new name, right? When you go from Saul to Paul, from Abram to Abraham, right? Everything is new, new, new. And we forget that. Sometimes we get so hopeless that we're like, can you just fix this? And then we wonder why our prayers don't get answered. And it's because God's standard isn't to fix it. It's to make it new. Look, give me a new bank account, new credit, new house, new relationships. Make this marriage like new. Renew. I need a new relationship with my kids. What's up, Emoji Transportation? I think I know you. And if so, then yeah, put in whether or not I know you. Hey, Emoji, and it's because his standard is new. Give me a new business. You can walk into the same building and get a new business, meaning you just got this fresh idea. You've got this fresh everything to where it's like, this is new, a new assignment. Yes. A new vision. A new purpose. Give me a new mind. Look, if you're struggling with your mental health, don't say, God, fix my mental health. God, give me a new mind. Give me some new equipment to work with. Refresh it. Press reset. Press reset on this thing up here. Press reset on my heart. Press reset in my body. Lord, I need a new kidney, Lord. I need a new... And just ask for something new because God's standard is new. He don't refurbish. A new location. Yes. A new start. A new mindset. Give me new energy. Renew my energy. Sometimes we ask for transformation. He's like, look, I'm not transforming this thing because you were never supposed to be doing that in the first place. You're trying to transform something on this road. And he's like, you're not even supposed to be on that road. Are you ready to let go of all of that? You're supposed to be over here. And so that's what a big part of my assignment is to help people kind of push into where that new space is. right? Because that's the highest standard of God is renewal. And you'll see it over and over me. God created me a new heart, right? A new mindset, a new thoughts, a new perspective. Give me a new vision. Give me renew my energy, right? And when it doesn't make sense until someone says that. You go back and it's like, oh yeah, he did say, create in me a new heart, not a fixed heart, not a better heart, new. He makes things like new. You get born again. New, 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 new. And the reason being is, and again, this won't make sense. Right, Psalm 51, new. And it's not until you start really pulling this in. This is why you need the Holy Spirit. And so even when I get clients who aren't believers, my first thing is, y'all, we're going to create a new business. It's going to still have the same name or whatever, but we're going to do so much work to where when you walk in this business, it's not going to be like the same place. Nothing about it is going to feel like where it has been. It's going to have a new standard. You're going to get some new employees, some new energy in here, new clients, right? Because think about it. If you have a business to where you just want your clients to get better, you're going to go out of business. Why? Because you constantly need new. And if there's nothing new coming out of your life, then eventually that means something's dying. And everything in life goes through a season, right? Right now, we're getting new grass. The grass we had died, it went through winter, and now some new greenery is popping up. Everything has to be new. You need new crops to grow every year. New. Not, Lord, can you pick up this old stuff, right? That's power positive. Absolutely. So really think about that. And part of what I want to do is to help you guys get to a space to where you're creating something new. You're getting new habits, a new perspective, a new mindset. And if that's something that's resonating with you, I want you to do two things. If you want to work with me one-on-one, schedule a mini session so we can just start that process and create a plan so we can say, okay, and I might say, look, I think you're in the process where you need to join the small group, or maybe we need to do a business transformation, or maybe we need to do just monthly accountability calls. Maybe we need to do, and just figure that out. That's why I have a mini session first, because I want to make sure we kind of put you on the right, in the right sector that's going to meet where your needs are. Because everyone doesn't need a full business transformation. Everyone doesn't need bi-weekly coaching. Everyone isn't going to be in a small group. It just depends on where you are, and I can help you do that. So ask yourself, what's new? What do you want to see be new in your life? Comment right now. And y'all, please like the lives. What do you want to see that's new? What needs to be renewed in your life? Or specifically, what's been old that you've been holding on to? What are some old things that you've been holding on to? What are some old things that you've been holding on to that you're like, you know what, this got to go? Now, this is the thing. So, when are you on again? My time is almost up for today. I'm not sure, but I would recommend you join the small group. I usually get on in the mornings, but I know Wednesdays at 12 is my assigned time to be on every Wednesday at 12, unless something pops up. But I am doing a small group session where I'm speaking to people individually in my small group tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. And you need to join the group in order to do that. And the group, y'all, to join, I think it's like $35 a month. And you get at least an hour and a half. Usually we're 2 hours worth of coaching every week, or what have you. So, but all of that's in the link in my bio. Just click and see what resonates with you. But what I will say to all of you is you need to do the cultivating vision and strategy, because you need to figure out what your new vision is for where your life is now in this season. And every single one of you guys are going to have a vision for what's coming. And you're going to need to really connect with a divine vision, meaning a divine vision is something that God's going to back up with you. Meaning you can have a vision like, I want to own the biggest strip club in the world. That's not a God. That's not one that God's going to back up with you. You're going to have to do a lot of fighting with that, right? What is a vision that God's going to back up that he can put his name on? That was one of the things that was my prayer as I transitioned out of my position, was saying, God, what can I do? And he says, I want you to build a company, a brand, and a business that I can put my name on, meaning I can put my stamp of approval on. Ooh, that changed a lot. That changed everything, actually. And this is important, and why I do this is because there are many coaches and spaces, and there are many executive coaches, but there aren't very many that are truly Christian. I'll be back because I got it to line some things up because I already see that this is very deep. Yes. But that's okay though, because God ain't shallow, and neither are the people in his kingdom. They shouldn't be anyway. That doesn't mean everything got to be deep, and it doesn't have to be spooky, right? But and guess what? Your harvest isn't going to go run shallow. It's going to run deep. When you think about your life's harvest, you don't want it to be one line like a backyard garden. You want it to be fields and fields and fields where the things you get out of your life, it just fills up acres and acres and acres. That meaning everyone in your generations can eat off of it. Everybody in your bloodline, your whole family, everyone can eat off of this thing. You want things to run deep, right? Same way like leg room in your car and on the airplane. You don't want it to be shallow. You want to get your some, yeah, you want a great harvest. So you got to go deep sometimes. And we do that. If you join my small group, we go deep. This is not shallow information, to the point to where there's sometimes where some of my members are like, look, girl, I'm just listening. I'm just listening. I know I needed to be on. I'm not even in a space to be on, but I'm listening, and I'm just going to let this soak in. Because sometimes if we do bring up things that people just, they know they need to confront, but they're like, yo, I ain't know we're gonna hit straight. I ain't know we were gonna just get straight to it today. Yes, friend, we are getting straight to it, sir. We are getting straight to it, ma'am. We are pulling this thing out of you. And it's really important, especially especially as we become adults, because there's fewer people that are pulling your purpose and are out of you, and that are really helping you kind of give birth to that thing. And I'll say this is the last thing that I'm going to say, because I'm getting hungry and I have some other things that I need to do. We've got to sow the seeds, and this is good ground, I believe, in my soul and spirit. Well, yes, do your thing. Join the group, schedule some sessions, do what you need to do, because I'm really interested in helping you guys do this kind of thing. Gives me energy. What doesn't give me energy is like riding up, like right now I have a program that's going to be for 30 days. The best part about the program is me studying and executing and meeting all of you guys in the program. The thing that I hate the most is writing up landing pages and documents and informationals and all that stuff about the program. I'll be like, look, y'all just join. It's going to be good. Trust me. But I have to do that. That is part of the process. Is you got to do all that stuff. So that's not what I'm looking forward to, but actually working with people, I can't wait. So I know I have to work on this landing page, work on all these things, and write out everything, so that way in preparation for the people who are coming. But that program is called 30 to Eden. And it's 30 days where we're going to focus on getting you back to Eden, to the place of creation, where you're creating and doing the things that are inside of you. And this is what I said was going to be the last thing that I'm going to say is, for some of you, some of the frustration, thank you so much. Some of the frustration that you're feeling, some of the anxiety, sometimes it's the depression that you're feeling, is the fact that you've been pregnant for 10 and 15 and 20 years. You've been pregnant with an idea. You've been pregnant with a destiny. You've been pregnant with a nonprofit. You've been pregnant with a new vision. You've been pregnant for 10, 15, 20 years. Now, if there's any ladies on here that's ever been pregnant, or that have, or you can imagine what would a woman's attitude be like if she were literally 9 months pregnant for 10 years? How nice would that feel? Always having swollen feet, always having, aches and pains, can never sleep, right? That restlessness that comes with not quite getting comfortable because you're pregnant. Some of you guys can't sleep because you've been pregnant with this idea for 10, 15, 20 years. And so what I want to do is help you to give birth to it, and help and identify the things that have been keeping you from doing it. Because sometimes when you when you think about what prevents you from taking action on the thing, because there's a lot of coaches that will show you how to do the thing, right? I'm going to say, hey, why have you not done the thing yet? Because all the information's out there. Why haven't you done it? What is preventing you from giving birth? And some of that aggravation that you feel day to day is not about your kids, it's not about your spouse, it's not about the person at the job, it's not about this. All of those are just mirrors reflecting back to you why you should have just given birth to that thing. If you would have just put in the time 10 years ago, you would have already had the money, right? What distracted you from it? What is preventing you from giving birth to that idea? And when you stay pregnant for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20, some people 40, 50, 60 years, of course you're going to be aggravated. Some of y'all don't have attitude problems. You've just been pregnant for 15 years and your spirit and your soul know it. You're just being delusional about it and you keep pushing it to the side. But and I'm going to say this too. There is 1000% clinical anxiety and depression. I'm not taking that away from anyone. But some of that stuff is your spirit saying, hey, I need you to pay attention to this thing. You keep ignoring this thing. I need you. Something's off. Something's off. I need you to focus. Something's off. Why don't you look at this? Why don't you go to counseling? Why don't you come up with that idea? You're not supposed to be at that job, or you're supposed to switch jobs. Why didn't you move? Why are you still staying with them? Why are you still, in this relationship? Why are you doing this? This isn't right. We have places to be. We have things to do. And you haven't done it. And then you medicate it to where maybe you're not feeling that knock anymore, but you still have that, you still feel a little, you still feel uneasy. It's just quieted down a little bit. So now you're walking around with like low grade anxiety all the time, low grade depression. But because you turned the indicator down, you medicated the indicator, now the problem's getting bigger. You're just not feeling it until you have an absolute breakdown. And it's because no one told you, hey, what's that thing what is this thing? Like, like you got a little something right here. What is that? What is that? No one came by to do that. Or you wouldn't take the time to look at it. You just like, don't look at it. Because if you look at it, it becomes real. Be like, friend, I know you see the roof is gone. No, it ain't. Friend, I know you see that. No, you have to go in and you have to fix that thing. So y'all, I hope, thank you so much. I hope that this inspires you to take action. Again, my name's Yanique. I've been helping entrepreneurs, industry leaders, and future entrepreneurs and industry leaders just give birth to their ideas and to push out their ideas and get their just clearing up their vision, getting some strategy behind it, and taking the necessary steps to do the thing that they've always wanted to do. And maybe you have something that you need to renew. You already opened the business, but things are stagnant. And you're like, look, this isn't a cleanup work. We can't just refresh this. We need to press the restart button on this thing. Because sometimes we throw away ideas that really we just need to press the restart button on, like the modem. Or your cell phone. Any of y'all have it to where your cell phone starts acting weird, but you realize you haven't turned it off in 6 months. You just put it on the charger. You never restarted it. Speaking of, I need to do that with my iPhone. So do that. Again, if you need to, if there's something specific you want to speak with me about, you can email me. You can schedule a mini session. If you're like, look, if you want private coaching, one-on-one coaching, go to the link in my bio. You can schedule private coachings by starting with a mini session. And if you're like, look, I don't know if I need private coaching, but I'm definitely interested in the group, my group mentorship group, my inner circle, join that. We're actually meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you like this, you're going to love that. And this group is not just for you to listen and to feel motivated. What I look for is people taking action. And let me tell you, some ideas are being birthed in this group. People are making more progress in a few months than what they have been for a few years, just from having accountability, support, and the information and the mindsets and the unearthing and redepositing of the specific mindsets, strategies, and precepts that you're going to need to do that. So we're taking out some of that old stuff. So obviously, I do go live every Wednesday at noon. Sometimes you'll catch me in the morning. But if you want like direct, like, look, I have to move this thing in my life. I don't want to just feel motivated. I'm ready for something new. Join that. And then, as you guys heard, sooner than later, I'll be introducing the Return to Eden. That's going to be a 30-day program for entrepreneurs and leaders to just get back to the space of creation, to get back to just where things are plenty, where you feel full. And I am feeling that this is something that's urgent for some of you. This is the season, and this is your final season to go ahead and act on your idea. How many of you guys, I want you to like or press or type yes if you know in your heart that this is the final season, that God is going to give you to give birth to this idea. Don't mean you're going to die, but meaning if you don't do this now, you're going to have to wait until the next season. And write yes if you know this is that time for you. Where it's like, look, and you've been feeling I got to do something about this, but you've still been putting it off. You've been unsure. You've been second guessing yourself. You've been doing all of these different things. If you know that's the case, type yes. Type yes, type yes, type yes. This is the time. It's now or never. And this is the thing. Timing is very important to God. Seasons is very important to God. When he gives you a word, typically that word is for this season. And it's because there's certain things that are happening seasonally. Like, I know that this is a season of the great exchange, meaning there are people who've been in positions of power that weren't doing the right things, and God is taking them out of these positions to where you're going to see it all over the news with celebrities, to where people that have been in power, and you're like, man, this person's been getting away with murder. They're in a place to where God's grace has turned into God's judgment, meaning he says, look, I'm giving you some time. I'm giving you some time. And finally, he has to issue a decree and say, all right, this is over. Where you're going to see people that you're going to be like, man, they just had a heart attack, where they just going to get taken out. You're going to see people that are going to fall from their positions to where, where God's grace has turned into God's judgment. He's given them time to turn things around, and they refused to change. And so he's plucking them out. And it may be things that people have seen, and it may be things that they've done in secret that God knows about. And he's like, I'm giving you time to turn this around. I've given you time to fix the behavior. You're out. And so because this is a season of the great exchange, y'all mark my words. I told everyone in 2023, towards the end of 2023, that they would see this in 2024, that they were going to see more people be disrupted and being taken out of positions of power that they were in. Now, this is the thing when it comes to the great exchange. God tells us the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. It's laid up. It doesn't mean it's going to fall into your hands, meaning you've got to be prepared to. My cousin told me that. Thank you, because I love Diane Carroll. She just had hair. But it's funny you said that. My cousin told me that same thing then. So this is a season that you're going to see more of that. I promise you. I stand on that. You've got to be prepared to take hold of it in this season. So there's going to be a great exchange happening in every community, in every town. We're about, how did this person get this job? No. They don't even have the credentials. They don't even have the right degree. They don't have this. And it's because they've been being good people when no one else was watching. But they're also going to be the people that were prepared to take hold of the wealth of the wicked when that transfer is happening. And this is the season of a great transfer. But you got to prepare yourself. And preparation doesn't happen while the thing is happening. Preparation happens before. Oh, my stomach just growled. Y'all got to get off of this. Preparation doesn't happen while the thing is happening. God does not bless those who are unprepared for it. He prepares them. He's probably been preparing you to get your business together. He's might been saying, hey, pay off that debt. Fix this, fix that. And he's not doing it to beat you up about it. It's about to say, no, something's about to happen and I'm going to need this off your credit. Something's about to happen. I'm going to need you to have your mind right. Something's about to happen and I'm going to need you to not be thinking about that boy or that girl because that's not your husband, your wife anyway. You're not going to have the emotional energy to do this thing that I'm trying to bless you with if you're still caught up in that. Something's about to happen to where you can't be dealing with self-doubt because you're not going to be able to do well. I can't put you on stage and you look scared up there and you question whether or not you're supposed to be there. Something's about to happen. So this is a season of preparation, friend. You have to put in the time and you have to have faith. And some of y'all, you already know it. Like, I can feel something's coming. There is something coming, both in the negative and blessed. And so if you're watching this and you're like, you know what, I've been feeling that same thing too. Something good is about to happen. There's something for me, but this is the time. Amen. Paul, you were supposed to be gone. Paul, did you tell me you were about to get off because you wanted me to get off so you don't miss nothing? You're supposed to be gone. So this is the time to get prepared, and you have to be prepared by faith. If this is resonating in your spirit, this is time to get prepared. It's time to clean up all the things you've been putting off. It's time to do it. And so if you want to be a part of that process where you're ready to clean up and get things in order, because let me tell you, I heard this from our counselors. One of our counselors told us this thing that's so true, but I hadn't thought about it in a while. Every time God gives you something new, he takes something away, meaning something that's useless away. And so this time of preparation is us taking out all that useless stuff, useless mindsets, useless fears, useless distractions, useless issues. Like I'm going to say this right now. If you have a $50 bill on your credit right now, that's lowering your credit, pay it. That's useless debt and you just didn't do it because you didn't feel like it. Useless issues. Things that really should not be battles that have become battles just because you haven't acted on it. Useless friendships, useless conversations, useless time wasters, useless everything. This is the time where he is stripping away all the things that are useless so he can deposit the things that are purposeful. Jesus is all about fruit. I want to invest in what is going to bear fruit. What is going to create more amazing believers, people, businesses, resources. And it doesn't have to be for another Christian. I've worked with people that weren't Christian. But guess what? God still got the glory out of it. Why? Because I still provided and provided them with the support and the mindsets necessary to where they can feed their families and that they're provided for. So but in order to do that, you got to get in order for whatever your platform is, for whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. Right? Because let me tell you, for every negative time that happens, and think about it like this, leaders are people who are able to provide for the needs of others. And anything that is keeping you from being able to provide for others, meaning you can't, like, I remember there was a space where I had so much going on spiritually and in my mind that I couldn't coach people because too much was going on up here and in here. And all of that had to get cleaned up because I didn't have any room left to help anyone. This is so good. I appreciate you. I didn't have any room left to help anyone. There was no space. And here I was saying, God bless my business, bless my business, bless my business. And he's like, you don't have any space, friend. And so we went through a period of just redirecting and just pulling some things out. So y'all, I'm going to leave y'all with that. If you haven't already, please follow my page, share this. If you see me post a video, share it, because we need more people on the side of light. We need to take some people out of the dark side. We need to take them out of the dark side of depression, hopelessness, time wasting, things of that nature. Leave that to them other people. Yes, he is not a respecter of persons. Let me tell you, you could be living in a project with nothing in your house but a box and a rat, and you're a good person. God gonna bless you, especially when you accept it. When you're like, look, okay, I'm with it. I'm with it, because God blesses those who are obedient. You could be. I don't care where you're from, what you've done. You could look. Moses was a murderer. Paul was a murderer. David and Solomon, both adulterers. If you will obey, God will bless you, especially once you make up your mind to be obedient. Say, look, whatever your plan is, God, I'm with it. Once you say that, he's like, oh, so you ready to leave the projects? You ready? So anyway, whatever you see, follow, share. If you just feel like led to work with me, then go to my profile. Let's do it. Let's do the work. Let's do the work. Make the investment. Because you're investing your resources somewhere. This is the last thing I'm gonna say, and then I'm getting off for real. You ever wonder like why the world is the way that it is? I heard this and God confirmed it. The reason the world is the way that it is because good people invest in terrible. Are your earrings from the salad bar? No, I have a company called Ear Expressions, EAR space XPRESSION, and my earrings are from my line, Ear Expressions. So if you want some earrings, go on there. There's a deal right now. I think everything's half off. So, and you can order it. If you order it today, I'll ship it from you today. And it's on TikTok too. Not on this shop, but on another one. But you can go on the website, Instagram, it's all on there. Ear Expressions with an X. And the writing is in pink and yellow, the logo. So they look more Nefertiti than salad. I don't know what that means. But okay. So and that was the thing. The world is the way that it is because great people invest in demonic and evil and bad systems. Every time you watch a trash television show that promotes gossip, that promotes pettiness, that promotes adultery, that promotes meanness and just evil and fighting and all that stuff, you invest in that. I made you laugh, goal accomplished. Because I was like, what you talking about? Salad, huh? And guess what? I get so confused by some people's comments. I'm like, what you talking about? So invest in that which is good and that's going to be good to you and it's going to help you push it forward. Are you talking about Wendy Williams? Y'all, I said this is going to be the last thing I'm saying. I want nothing better to see Wendy Williams healed. But let me tell you how this world works. Evil will always promote you while you are promoting that stuff. The enemy will always promote you, feed you, give you money, do everything as long as you are able to continue to push his agenda. Same thing with God. God loves people who talks to him about Jesus, talks to them about doing right, talks about, living well, talks about things that, that God believes in, helping others, feeding the poor. As long as you're doing that. One time I was like, Lord, why does it feel like I'm struggling financially? He's like, look, because you're a giver, I'll never allow the seed to leave your hand. Meaning because you're willing to give, you're willing to help others, there's never going to be a time to where I'm just going to be broke. Right? So, but the enemy works the same way. As long as you're willing to do things that will devour someone, give them false advice, false ideologies, things that are going to keep them captured, then he'll always make sure you have the seed to do that. And when you are no longer able to do that, like when Wendy lost her job, when Wendy was doing whatever, next thing you know, your mind is gone, your health is gone, everything's gone. Because guess what? You've already been used up. When he's no longer able to use you, you're done. And so I pray that maybe there's a believer close to her. I pray that, maybe there is someone who understands the spirit realm that can speak into our life, lay hands on her, do whatever they need to do, so that way she may not be completely devouring. Do I believe that manifesting is satanic? So anything satanic is usually like a copy of God's of something that God already created. It's just a copy, right? And so when you think about manifesting, this is the thing when it comes to manifesting is you absolutely can manifest, right? But you want to make sure that instead of saying, hey, here's all the things that I want, let me just make sure I get all the things that I want. Usually you want to be in a place to where you're submitting to God's will for you. And it's something that's pleasurable. So usually when people say manifesting, it's all about what they want. Right. And so and really what you want to say is, God, what do you want? How would you like for me to bear fruit in this lifetime? And then what you do is and then you partner with God on his plans and purposes. How do I know exactly? Go to the link in my bio. And there is a workbook called Cultivating Vision and Strategy. It's $15, super cheap. It used to be a course, but I stopped doing it as a course because I realized y'all don't sit through courses. ADHD is real. Okay. And what I want you to do is before you fill out this workbook, I want you to pray and say, God, I'm asking you to shed light. Let there be light. Shed light on your will for me as I fill out this workbook. Now, I believe that God has always planted his purposes and his desires within you. And you can see it due to your gifts and your natural inclinations. I'm not talking about your addictions, your natural inclinations. For instance, one of the things I noticed in my stepdaughter, I think she's going to be an architect of some sort. She can draw, and some of the things that she can do with Legos and just some of the things that she just does naturally, like she had her Legos and she had like this apartment built and the city built, and it wasn't like a little kid thing. Like you could see the countertops in the pool, like it was so detailed. And then when she would draw, she would do that. I go in my woods and ask God, and all I keep getting is build little houses. Well, why haven't you done it? So get the workbook, and because writing is cathartic, pray beforehand. Hello, Pastor Stephen. Something is telling me to expand the shed and build a kiln. Okay, so get the workbook, pray for God to partner with you and say, Lord, shed light on this as I fill this out. And in this workbook, I'm going to have you identify your gifts, identify sometimes some of the personal needs that you have just going on currently, identify the things that upset you, identify some limiting beliefs. And by the time you're done with that, you'll realize what are some of the things that I'm doing just based on my circumstances. And sometimes the circumstances have been created just for environmental factors and things like that. Hello, Pastor Stephen. And some of it are just things that are done that. And before you fill it out, I want you to say, and I tell this to everyone, pray to God, hey, God, shed light, let there be light. Show me what it is that you want me to do, and then start filling it out. And by the time you're done, you're going to be so close. You're either going to know or you're going to be so close, or you're going to have enough for this season. Thoughts on the Amish? I'll be honest with you. I don't know a lot about Amish people. I know most Amish people are believers. They might. Now, this is the hard part is you got to make sure you're not just being religious and that you have an active relationship with God. You're not just following rules because someone told you to. Because sometimes if you remember, religious people killed Jesus. People that were so bound to rules and regulations that they missed God. So I don't know very much about Amish people. I'll be honest. I know they can cook. I know that. I know if they selling a pie, I'm gonna pull over. God bless their hands. I know that much. I know they can cook and they can bake. You make abstract art and weird music. And let me tell you, it's not weird. Most of it, and this is why you need to go click the link in my bio, spend the money, and I even put a price on it because if there's no price on it, you won't do it. You'll just get it for free and it'll sit in your phone or whatever for 1,000 years. But when you pay for something, you're more likely to act on it. You're like, let me get this done today. Let me go ahead and eat this. So Some of the things that we think are weird are actually things that God deposited into us that is supposed to equip us to fulfill his purpose for us, which is to bless somebody else. So, abstract art, weird music, you may be a psalmist. And you may be a psalmist for someone who needs to hear something godly outside of just gospel music. I love gospel music, but everybody's ears is not inclined to gospel music. The gospel is just music that talks about the gospel. You can make, I listen to gospel samba from Brazil. I listen to Afro beats I was playing some when I first started this live that are gospel things. I listen to all kind of stuff. So everyone's ears are not inclined and don't perk up from the same sound. So maybe he wants you to make that. A lot of people who make art and music, yeah, but that's why you're here. A lot of coaches are not godly. That's why I'm in this space. Because I mean, I've gone to conventions where people have them do like weird transcendental meditation and kundalini stuff, and like, and look, and there were times before I reconnected with God that I participated just from lack of knowledge. So, and I want you to think about this, right? Instead of thinking about everyone who's doing it that is not godly or that may be XYZ, just look at it as that's territory that God wants me to take back. Doesn't mean that you're in there mixing and doing all this stuff and you're participating with the things that are going to get you bound, but we're supposed to be taking back enemy territory. So yeah, it's not a cool. That's just what Jesus told us to do. He told us we were going to be fishers of men. You're going to go from being a fisherman to a fisher of men, right? And the world has been a different place ever since. Yeah. So clean and humble, go in there, fill out the workbook, because you could also be addicted to wondering, how do I feel about Puff? I feel that it's God's desire that none shall perish. That's how I feel about him. It is God's desire that none shall perish and that all will come to a place of repentance and following God. That's how I feel about him. And that what we all can learn from that is over time. So I don't believe in the gospel of once saved, always saved. Puff isn't going to perish. So what that means is meaning your soul shall perish, meaning going to hell. So I know that it's God's wish that none shall perish, meaning that everyone eventually repents and turns back to God. Isn't going to either. Well, I said it's his desire. It is God's wish that none shall perish. That doesn't mean that they won't, because we all have choices to make. I had to at some point choose to be a good person. I had to choose to follow God. He doesn't force us to. And that's when I talked about 30 to Eden, is everyone getting back to Eden, the place of creation and God's original intent. One of the things that he did was give us free will. So it is like if any of you have kids, is it any of your desire to see your kids suffer? I want you to understand this, that any of you guys have children and you wish that they suffer? Absolutely not. But then you realize that it is some people, right? Oh, Pastor Stephen, you want to make it. What you want to talk about, Pastor Stephen? So then you realize that sometimes your kids, they got to learn a hard lesson. Sometimes they have to learn a hard lesson and they have to choose. Yes, exactly. But you want to know, like, so you don't wish that anything happens to them, right? But you also have to allow them to make the decision to do the right thing. They seem too loving right now. There's no way to be loving. What did God say? Right? Like love over everything. Why? Because when we get to heaven, you're not going to need to know how to prophesy. You're not going to need to have faith because you're already in heaven. You're already going to be seeing the things that God has promised you. So you don't want them to be you want them to be loving. That's the one thing that's not going to fail them. Now, what you don't want them to be is delusional, and you don't want them to lack wisdom. But you can be loving and still be what? What does it say? What as a snake, but innocent as a dove? I think other kids may not have as much affection around them. Yeah, I mean, but pray for those kids too. I see their classmates are not like them. Well, their classmates probably aren't believers and may not be, have a mother or father like you. And pray for their classmates. And, one of the things that you have to remember too is God says he puts the lonely within families. So, maybe if you are that person, invite some of those kids over for dinner, invite their parents, invite them to events and do things to where instead of, we have to get outside of, we have to stop identifying the problem and decide to be a part of the solution. We are really, really good, and this comes to leadership and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs and leaders are part of the answer. And so identifying the problem and saying, okay, I see the problem. What's one tiny way? One tiny way. Well, you got to learn how to, you don't have to like people, you just got to love them. And guess what? I wrote this down last night. Maybe this was for you, friend. I wrote this down last night. I don't know, was I studying the word or I was talking to my mentor? I was doing something, but I'm going to show you this. So the maximum expression of love is Jesus Christ. And he represented love through sacrifice and obedience. So love, the Jesus being the ultimate expression of love, he expressed love through sacrifice and obedience. And so although you may not like being around people, you may be an introvert, that may be the sacrifice that you have to make in order to be obedient and to give and to love. So there is no love without sacrifice and obedience. And there's times where, for instance, I like having a lot of alone time, right? It's a sacrifice for me to be on here. I've been on here for quite some time now, but y'all are still talking and we're still feeding. And so when God gives me that tap on the shoulder that says stop and go eat, I'm gonna stop and go eat, but we're almost there. But so it's a sacrifice. I love my alone time. And there's times where God will be like, call this person. And I'll be like, man, I like jamming out in a car. I just want to be in my car. If I call them, they're going to talk to me for 2 hours. And then I had plans on doing this. I had plans on doing that. And I already know. But boom. Right. But it's an expression of love. And every time I do it, especially when it's in obedience, because you can make a sacrifice that God never told you to make. Like he didn't tell you to go over there. Right. You should have faded the side and not just cut it ball. I mean, it's faded in the back, but you have to get back on my lives to know why. So the reason why, one because I do like looks that are more edgy, but also the benevolent. I started experiencing hair loss here, and it was really getting on my nerves, and it was really making me feel like insecure. And so I said, guess what? Ain't gonna be no more edges. And I went on Pinterest. I saw a picture of Rihanna where she had all of her head shaved around the side, and that's what I have. So in other words, thank you for making a suggestion, but maybe hopefully now you understand why more I have a shaved bald. Because I said, guess what? Before I'm sitting there looking in the mirror at myself, putting all these drops and stuff in my head, before I do all this other stuff, before I spend all this time worried about how I look, just ain't gonna be no edges. I ain't got to worry about it. Well, I hope that she did do it better, the benevolent, right? But luckily, I'm not trying to be Cassie. I'm just trying to be me. And because of this, whenever you see a bald-headed girl with short blonde hair, you're going to know it's me. But I appreciate your support and your positivity. So, and I appreciate you taking the time to comment. So whenever you focus on just what the problem is, nothing pushes forward. There are no rewards in identifying the problem unless you plan on doing something about it. Just solely being able to identify a problem, usually just when people solely identify a problem, it turns into three things, especially when you don't plan on doing anything about it. It turns into judgment, and it turns into criticism. And then eventually you become a complainer. Judgment, criticism, and simply a complaint. Now, the good thing is you're laying all that up for someone who is going to fix the problem to push forward, whether they fix it and God blesses them, they start a business around it, they do whatever. So whatever it is that I have a rule. I don't complain about anything I don't plan on doing something about. If I don't have any plans on doing anything about it, or it's not within my ability to do anything about it, I don't complain about it. I just say, look, maybe this might be somebody else's job or ministry. So focus on doing those things. Focus on doing all of those things. But really, y'all, that is my time. Again, my name's Yannick, and if you need help pushing forward and just getting every area of your life back in balance, taking hold of your vision, staying accountable to doing the things you say you're going to do, and pushing life forward, click the link in my bio. And either one, if you don't know, if you're sitting here, you're like, I don't know my life's purpose, download the workbook, fill it out. I start all of my clients with that. You have to understand your vision, meaning your vision is really your life set of, it's the path. It's creating a path. Even if you feel like you're in the wilderness, you still got a path in the wilderness, right? You're just following that tree line. You have to start the path. And then what you have to do is make decisions that are in alignment with that path. So that way you're not just spending your life going I think you should be an actress. Maybe. I like to eat though. They gotta stay skinny. I like for clean and humble. I like to eat. I ain't gonna lie. Like I believe in being healthy, but I also don't believe in being real. Then they got me. They might get me. Because the camera puts like 10, 15 pounds on you. Because I have been on some movies or on a movie set, and they real small. You think they're regular size. They look regular size on the show, but when you see them in person, I'm like, all y'all look like this big. You're always doing keto. But thank you. I appreciate that. I have written a script. So if you know someone who is in TV production who is looking for a very interesting script, I have a really good script. Yeah, so hit the link in my bio. I go live on Wednesdays at noon. Sometimes you can catch me. I am the size of a regular woman. I'm just saying, to be on TV screen, it will put 15 pounds on me, meaning I would have to lose weight. Which I don't know. If God has that for me, I'm not rejecting it. That's for sure. But yes. So what you want to do, click the link in my bio. Let's work together. So you guys have a great day. Hopefully this helped you in some form or fashion, and be on the lookout. Click the link in my bio and be on a lookout for my 30-day program. It's called Return to Eden, or really 30 to Eden. So it's going to be amazing. I'm actually going to get off of this and work on that for just a bit, and work on a scrapbook for my great aunt. So, and hang out with my husband. So see y'all later. Bye. Follow me if you haven't followed All of This Life 5 March 2024 movie. Yes. Yes. What is All This Life? Is it on like Tubi or something? Anyway, I gotta go. Y'all send me a DM, because if I keep talking, my ability to think of more than one thing at the same time, some people call it ADHD. I call it a blessing. I get easily distracted. The more y'all comment, the more I'm getting distracted. So I gotta go. I gotta be disciplined and go.